who used music in the background of her beauty and makeup streams. She was really popular, and she got sued for millions of dollars.
What?
Topics for let's address this elephant that's sitting in the room. Okay, DMCA apocalypse, whatever you want to call it. The laws are a huge topic right now, especially on Twitch. With everyone deleting on their it's the second time we've actually done this, and it's almost as if we didn't take the first time that seriously, and then or it's the third time, and the first time it's almost as if we were trying to use all these third-party tools to delete everything off our site, and then if they didn't work, we just gave up. That's definitely not what I did. And then and then you're here wondering why can't I just select all and delete this on the website? That would be really helpfall. Anyway,
God forbid you wrote program to help the people that currently are.
Anyway.
Papa Purple. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So, first question. Let's first break this down, and I think you give us the best best answer we could probably get on it.
No pressure.
The DMCA laws. Like, what are we looking at? What are they?
Do you know what DMCA stands for?
I don't. Let's tell the people.
Cool. Let's start. Digital Millennium Copyright Act.
Okay.
That's what it means. It's basically really old, and it doesn't
sounds old AF. Yeah.
It's from October 1998. Actually, we just celebrated the 22-year anniversary of the DMCA being signed into law. Yay! Happy birthday! Don't sing a birthday song because that's copyrighted. So what is the DMCA? The DMCA is basically it's a compromise between the copyright holders. So that's that's musicians, that's artists, that's content creators like y'all and me occasionally, like once a year, and service providers. So the idea is that the internet as we know it wouldn't exist without the DMCA, because right now, think about it this way. Every website you interact with has user-generated or user-uploaded content. And because of that, it increases the likelihood that somebody is going to upload something they don't own the rights to. For example, if you go on, Google image search and you search for 1 million photos of things you probably shouldn't be searching for, then there's websites, adult ones, that want to protect that content because they have it behind a paywall. However, why don't those sites sue Google? Well, actually, they did. That's why I brought up that specific example. The adult entertainment industry sued Google for Google image search because they said that people didn't need to pay them. They could just Google the name of a star and find pictures of that person. Google was protected under the DMCA because they're a service provider. A service provider, someone that provides a service on the internet. Twitch is a service provider.
This is as opposed to a publisher, right? I feel like I've heard that before. Difference.
Yeah, it's.
Not to get you off track.
it's adjacent. It is adjacent. If we go into publishers, then we need 3 more hours. So
we don't have that.
Basically, yeah, I know we don't have that. Somebody's got to play Among Us in 25 minutes. But so what happens is the service providers don't want to get sued, but at the same time, they don't want to shut down their platforms. So the DMCA was born. It's a way for a copyright owner, somebody who owns a copyright, to notify a service provider, hey, you've got content that I own that I didn't allow you to have on your site. That's simple. It is a way to find infringing content. What infringing means is it's stuff that you don't have the rights to use. So the way that the DMCA works, the takedown process, is copyright holder, person holding a copyright, sends a DMCA takedown notice to the service provider, Twitch, who then notifies the end user, hey, these people said that you uploaded their stuff. We're going to disable access to it. If you think that this was sent in error, let us know. We'll reinstate it. And then the copyright holders only recourse is to sue the person who uploaded it. Saves the service provider. Do I need to go over any of that again?
No.
Oh, that makes
all right.
sense.
Cool.
They can just hit rewind on the podcast and just listen to it as many times as
back 30 seconds. 30 seconds. If you're on an iPhone, iPhone 12. So Not sponsored.
So specific.
That's got a lot on the mind right now. So that the DMCA in itself is not a bad thing. It's just old, and it doesn't understand modern technology, and so it's been abused in a lot of ways. The reason that we had this happen was because people have been using music in the background of their streams that they don't have the rights to use, and in many cases, the artist or the label that owns the rights and normally would get paid if that was played in a restaurant, if that was played live or something like that, they're not getting paid for those listens, those uses. And the argument they're making is that it is an infringing use. Under the exact letter of the law, that's true. Because if you're not paying for the rights to use it, you don't have a license to use it,
Hmm.
then it is infringing. And so these artists are mostly represented by a number of organizations, the most prominent of which is the RIAA, which is what you've heard a lot about. They're the ones that have
Hmm.
caused this crazy stir lately.
Yeah.
So in June, the RIAA turned on DMCA enforcement for 3 songs. And
Just 3.
just 3 songs.
They turned it on like
And
it was a switch on a wall. They were like, you know what? This is time. We can.
literally, no joke. They pressed a button, and thousands, tens of thousands of DMCA's went like they were heat-seeking torpedoes right at Twitch, and all of a sudden you saw all these creators getting temp bans, because they had VODs or clips that had the songs in them in some form because they just been listening to their Spotify playlist. Which, by the way, you can't do that also because it's against Spotify's terms of service to use them as background music on Twitch. I digress. So,
Oh,
yeah.
quick side note on that. What if you own the license to, like we were talking about earlier, Monster Cat?
So,
Is that a workaround?
This sounds very specific.
No, I'm just. I don't do it. I'm just curious. Yeah.
So it's against Spotify's terms of service to use it to broadcast music, even if you have the rights to that music.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, so you can't use that on Twitch.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So what happened was all these creators freaked out because they're like, what am I going to do? Is the music apocalypse coming? Because this actually happened to YouTube in 2012. Something called the Michelle Phan case, where there's a beauty and makeup artist named Michelle Phan who, and I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name. I've never met her. Who used music in the background of her beauty and makeup streams. She was really popular, and she got sued for millions of dollars. Because copyright infringement carries up to $150,000 per infringement in statutory damages. So think if you're doing an 8-hour stream, how many songs go through an 8-hour stream?
That is
That's
insane.
a huge problem.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and so the RIAA turned on enforcement, sent DMCAs to Twitch. Twitch had no choice but to comply. Otherwise, they would lose their protection under the DMCA, meaning that they could get sued by the RIAA and its constituents immediately. And Twitch is not about to do that.
No, of course not.
So it was a huge problem. Everybody said, well, delete your VODs, delete your clips, etc. And that's when people started to say, well, you're good if you only play it live because Twitch will catch the VODs and mute them, or you don't turn off your VOD.
Yeah, they did that.
Yeah. But the problem is there's a company called PEX, and I'm able to say this now. In June, I wasn't able to say it. There's a company called PEX, PEX, that is owned in part by Warner and Universal Music Group. They invested in it in 2018. And PEX allows for live fingerprinting of music across the internet, live and past broadcast. PEX is what was used to find those 3 tracks in those tens of thousands of clips and VODs. And PEX has the ability.
Really quickly, it's really important. Does PEX count as a viewer? Because I'll allow it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It does.
There we go.
There you go.
They're a bot, but yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And so PEX is able to take down things live. They just haven't turned it on yet. So if we're playing music right now, we could go down black screen if we're playing AC/DC. Don't play AC/DC live.
So do they then contact Twitch and Twitch takes us down, or did they go beyond Twitch and do it themselves?
So what happens is PEX identifies it and notifies its whoever said, hey PEX, go find this. The person who said it is the copyright holder. The copyright holder sends a takedown to Twitch under penalty of perjury, saying, "Here's my stuff. Here's their stuff. I own this. They don't, take it down."
Mm-hmm.
Twitch gets that, is supposed to pass it on to you and allow you to respond and then have the content reinstated.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem, and this is the most recent problem from last Tuesday. Last Tuesday, what happened was we all the partners got emails. I'm assuming both of you got that as well,
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Hey, we received a ton of DMCA notices. We haven't been enforcing them. By the way, we got rid of the content. Don't worry about it. Just know that by the 23rd, we're gonna flip the switch back on. So clear everything out."
Mm-hmm.
Hence the panic.
Yeah.
What had happened was they had received tens of thousands of DMCA notices starting in June, almost every week. And then they got another
Jeez.
round of them last Monday, and they said, "We got to do something," and they didn't comply with them.
So they have been getting these since June, and just now we're like, we should probably take care of this.
Yeah, because they didn't want to show everybody getting deplatformed all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so now they're back in live, so you can get a DMCA now, or you can get a strike now, and that's extremely problematic the way they handled it. Because on the one hand, Twitch didn't comply with the DMCA takedown, which means their safe harbor is in jeopardy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
their safety net. On the other hand, they didn't comply with it with regards to y'all either, because under the statute, they're supposed to give you the ability to respond and have the stuff
We didn't.
reinstated.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah,
So
I mean, with YouTube, we get DMCA notices, or at least I do on my channel, every now and then.
yeah,
And some are legitimate, some are literally trolls. They're just
Mhm.
like, yeah, totally, I own this. And no, you freaking don't.
They're like, "Dang it, got me," and they just go away.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you don't own that. And they're like, touche, and they fade into darkness.
I see you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, YouTube's always like, hey, do you want to dispute this every time? And I'm like, frick, yes, I own that.
Yeah.
That's why I was so confused with the whole Twitch thing, because it was like, hey, take it down. You have no recourse. Why? Why do I?
Well, part of it is because Twitch doesn't have the ability to reinstate your VODs once they're deleted. They're perma deleted.
Yeah.
You could write that in, but they haven't done it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Which is that's it's still crazy to think about how we still can't mass delete on the site after 3 months of, you know what I mean? They're gonna have to do this in 3 months.
yeah. And so that's what caused the DMCA apocalypse, because everybody said, all these artists realized, holy crap, I can make a ton of money
Yeah.
during a pandemic when I can't tour. It's just that I'm not being seen. I'm not getting that credited to me. I need to be compensated, which as content creators, we understand.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get paid for our work. And
Yeah.
so
It makes sense. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
it's not that the RIA is evil. It's just that they're bullish. Um,
Yeah.
and Twitch really needs to come to the table like Facebook did.
Mhm.
Facebook paid $1 billion for the rights.
Jeez.
Yeah. But you can stream that music on
In
Facebook.
perpetuity. Yeah. Just go for
Oh,
it.
and they're just good for the rest of time. Facebook is.
No, there is
No,
definitely a
not-
I
time
was gonna
limit.
say.
I meant
Yeah.
it covers
Yeah.
they're good.
It covers the body of music.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually
can
know
play
the
music.
term limits, but I can't say it because it's attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
Oh,
right.
interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that stuff was publicly available or not, but that's
It
interesting.
is not.
Because I feel like, and yeah, I'm not gonna twist your arm or anything, but honestly, when you said $1 billion, I was kind of like, that's it. It was almost seemed low. I was like, what is that, 6 months? It seems like
Yeah.
they're renting it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be
Probably isn't the longest of terms.
a
Probably not.
couple $1 billion to get any type of substantial amount of
It could-
time, unless
my-
they just strong arm them or hey, we're freaking Facebook. What are you gonna do? And they're like,
My
okay.
guess is, I bet you that's it's probably along the lines of a stopgap until some sort of
Probably.
relationship starts to where
Yeah.
like it's part of making music now is
Right.
then creating avenues for people to use it. Like, for example, here's an easy like, so the second part of this question was then going to start talking about solutions, right?
Mhm.
Like one of the things will be, they'll be like, this is a relationship that could form later because of this, which it could all
Right.
work out to be a good thing, is
Mhm.
like, yes, you can play our music as long as, and then there's a service that makes it display on your stream. So it's like not even
Right.
user side, it's Twitch side. So if you go live and music's playing and you're using something that is attached to Twitch, there's nothing, you can't move it, or you can move it, but you can't take it off.
Forced
Mhm.
attribution. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, so you're giving the
Credit.
recognition, the credit and you're giving them, that's valuable the same way that we play games.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
the guy from Stadia who's making the big horrible hot takes about how you have to buy the game and then also buy a license
That was
for the game.
familiar.
I actually I got a hot take on that one too. So,
Okay, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm going to be honest. From a legal standpoint, I understand where he's coming from, but there's way more nuance for that than when it comes
oh
like
yeah.
the music isn't central to streams like the game is. So
Right.
Yeah.
like the game, the value you're creating for the creator of the game is vastly larger than
Yeah.
you are for the person who made the music. Especially when people's like, "What song is this?" and then you just ignore them. Like
Yeah.
you didn't create any value at that point.
Hashtag song.
People are like downloading Shazam from 8 years ago and they're putting it against their headphones trying to figure out what song it was, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not
We actually use Shazam in the back end of a couple of my clients' labels to identify, make sure that the song that's been submitted by
That's amazing.
that's been submitted by somebody isn't already somewhere else.
for those of you who
Wow.
don't know, you can just literally ask Siri. She does it now. So like just
Really?
Yeah. Yes,
don't
it's
download
built in. I think
Shazam.
Siri
She's been able to
bought.
beat Shazam for like 7 years.
I think
Apple
Siri
bought Shazam.
Apple bought Shazam. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
Siri bought
secret.
Shazam.
That's
You
the
actually don't have to
secret.
give
I
the
learned
big
something today.